This, 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 this is a 1992 Nissan Atlas Japanese fire truck, and it is the coolest thing in the world. Let's take a look at all the quirks and features, all the weirdness, all the fun things, and I'll also talk about probably some issues I'm gonna have in the future, but I knew that going in, so I'm pretty excited. Let's take a look. Join me. So this is a new toy for me. It's also going to be my daily driver. If anybody wants a Subaru, get in touch. This is just a regular Nissan Atlas work truck that has been modified back in 1992 to be a Japanese fire truck. This badge is only on the fire trucks, and I was pretty excited that it actually showed up with the badge, because some of these, when they get imported, don't have this. So that's a pretty neat touch. You'll notice that this has aftermarket lights. We'll go into that in a little bit. This is a Japanese JDM only truck. This was never brought into the US. Obviously it is here now, but it's well past the 25-year rule, so they're starting to import them. It's definitely got some quirky stuff. It's a 24-volt system. It came with 15.5-inch tires and wheels. Those are not available as replacements in the US, so I've made a couple changes. It's also obviously right-hand drive, four-wheel drive, diesel, 2.7 liter, naturally aspirated. I wish it had a turbo. Maybe we'll get there later. But it will do 70 miles an hour, eventually. Join me, let's go inside to this wonderful, weird vehicle. So obviously, as I said before, right-hand drive. In Japan, they drive on the other side of the street, so they put the driver on the other side of the car. This one, all the weird old stuff from '92 is also what is really kind of endearing to me. Non-power locks, non-power windows, use hand power. On older vehicles, they got the little push button, so when you want to get the key out, you can't unless you push the button. That takes a little getting used to. This has a throttle control. So if you want, when you get this thing going, you can crank up the throttle and it'll raise the RPMs. I think that has to do with the work truckness of it. I'm not 100% sure what they would use that for as a fire truck, but I think it's just part of it. If anybody knows what this is, I have yet to figure this out. I don't know if it's a pencil holder or if it's for holding a bag or like a cigarette holder. I don't know, but there it is. It's got vinyl seats, so man, when it's hot, these things, you just sweat like crazy, so that's why I have a t-shirt that's old school. At least keep a little of the sweat off. It has a stereo, but it's Japanese radio band, so I can't get any music out of this thing here in the US, so that's why I have the JBL Bluetooth speaker. Runs off my phone. I might change that in the future, but again, it's a 24-volt system, so I either have to source a 24-volt stereo or figure out a way to convert this to 12-volt to run a US spec stereo. I still haven't figured out how I want to do that, and honestly, that JBL speaker works pretty good, so the only downside is I have to charge it. So on this one, 5-speed manual transmission. It's on my left side, but for some reason it doesn't seem to mess with me. I've been driving manuals my whole life. It's just kind of a little more of a head game. I haven't had problems with the shifter being on the left side, but I have gone to turn the turn signal on, and instead I've turned the wipers on because they're flipped from US cars. This is your transfer case between 2 high, 4 high, neutral, and 4 low. This thing is 4-wheel drive, and you have to lock the hubs to get out and do 4-wheel drive, but it's pretty rad. Also, this is cigarette lighter, but again, they let you know that it's 24-volt, so you can't plug in your radio or your regular charger, because that's a 12-volt system. But the guy that I bought it from converted part of it to a 12-volt system. So those lights that I showed you on the front, those are all run by these switches, and then he also installed a 12-volt USB charger, so I can charge my phone while I'm driving, which is wonderful. Oh, this also has a flip-down stick shift. So regular 5-speed pattern. It's got a little switch that you lift up and you move the whole lever over, and that way if you need to scoot over to that seat, you just move that over. I also kind of use it as, I mean, obviously if it's on the video now, people know about it, but it's like a very minor theft prevention. Like if the stick shift is down and you don't know how to use this thing, then you're not going to steal the truck. Please don't steal my truck. Other kind of quirky things, it looks like this is a fold down seat, and it's not. This is bolted to this bar, as is the passenger seat. It does have a hinge, but I'm pretty sure this is just designed to stay here, because I did unbolt it and it folds down and runs into this, and also if it did go flat it would run into 2nd and 4th gear. So it's not really designed to flip down, it's just designed to hold stuff. Little storage right here, got stickers of course. What else? It's really interesting, very bare bones. It has one visor but no visor on the passenger side. I think there were certain things that they just did as a budget item. This, at some point, had an option for AC, and you can see where the switch would go. And then this little plug covers up not only the hole, but it also says, sorry poor, you don't get AC. Maybe something I'll try and fix in the future, because it's a hot truck. So on this side we got the window wiper fluid reservoir, and then also it came with a flare. Pretty cool. I love stuff that's, you know, OEM to the truck that came with it. Glove box with cup holders. Separate place to, I don't know, put your ashes. Ashtray. And then cup holder with small and very small. I don't know what fits in here, but it's very cute. Oh, one other thing too. This is interesting. It took me a while to figure out what this button is for. When you have the parking brake on, the parking brake indicator light switch is this right here. So when you have the parking brake showing as on, very, very simple. You just, this just hits that button and turns off the light. Pretty cool. Welcome to the back seat. Very spacious. One of the checkpoints for this thing as to what I was looking for when I bought one of these goofy trucks is it had to be 4-door, it had to be 4-wheel drive, it had to be pretty low mileage. This thing, when I got it, was under 3,000 miles. Spectacular for a 92, 30-year-old truck with under 3,000 miles. So the nice thing about that is it gives me time to kind of start amassing service parts, because a lot of them are going to have to be imported. And I knew that going into it. That's why I wanted the low miles. But it's pretty cool. I'm 6'3" and I fit in the back just fine. This seat flips up, but right now I got the kid seats in it, so you can just take my word for it. It does flip up. Lots of space. Original floor mats, and then this is the coolant reservoir for the engine, because the passenger seat is what you need to lift the passenger seat so you can get to the engine. But that's the coolant reservoir. Little hatch right there. There's the little cap. And then this bar is structural. It's kind of what keeps the cab from shaking a lot. This thing still vibrates a bunch. Ashtray, of course, because, you know, if you're fighting fires, you gotta make fires. Back to the storage zone. So cool. All kinds of room in here. The guy that I bought it from, as part of his 12-volt panel upgrade, he put in these lights. So they're LED and they run off the 12-volt section that he set up. And he had to put these switches in because the thing vibrates so much that these things would just go through the modes. They would turn off and on and off and on and off and on. So he had to put a switch. The whole rack slides out and it goes both ways. So you can access it from either side. Lots of storage. Pretty cool. Came with the ladder. I haven't used it yet, but that's okay. You can see it's still got the fixtures for the hoses. This one was just a simple pump truck. It didn't use a PTO pump. So the nice thing is they were able to import it, just take the pump out, take the hoses off, and ship it. It would have been cool to have all that stuff, but also then I would have to remove it and I would have to keep it somewhere. So it's kind of, you know, I'm okay with that. Interesting that this used to be a regular work truck that had a 3-side flip-down bed, and because this was totally modified for the fire department, they just left the hinges on and then just welded everything in place. So originally I didn't understand why the hinges were there, and then it made sense that it was custom made as a fire truck. And then inside here we got searchlight and a little lamp for when you're in the bed if it's nighttime. Little storage. This is where I keep some wood blocks, and I keep the jack in here. It's just easier to get to than unless it's under the front seat, because if the kids are back there, it's tricky to get to. Real simple tailgate, and it's got steps so you can get up and in. There's the switches. This folds down, zips in place, and it's not waterproof, but keeps the rain out, so if you need to carry stuff, you know, keeps it pretty dry. And then this was for the old inlet hoses for the pump. Again, doesn't come with them, so they just live here without a job to do. As I said in the intro, these tires and wheels are 15.5 inch, which as a size is not available in the US. I would have to import tires. And so the first thing I did was I went and got some old 4Runner wheels and had some tires put on. And I'm glad I did, because while I was waiting for these tires to arrive, one of the original tires got a huge split in the side. So I was kind of on borrowed time. This lets me at least have tires and wheels that I can get replacements pretty quickly. So pretty happy about that. This is the access point. This little door. This is the access point to get to the batteries. So you can see the batteries are down here. But to be able to change the wires or do anything, they give you a little port. That's kind of nice. Everything's held together with snaps, which is kind of fun. You know, Doug would do like a little review, do a test drive. We're not going to do that today, it's too hot. But if I'm going to give it a Greg score, I'm going to say it's 100% perfect. I love this thing. If you have any questions, comments, if you have any information about these things, please reach out, send me an email, leave a comment. I'll go through and read them all. And if you're local and you see me out of the trails, come say hi, because I got the butter sticker. That's the whole point. Thanks for watching.
I lost track of the video.
Choppers! This?
You'll have to redo that one.
Why?
I started laughing.